So, a lot of you already know that I've had a lot of personal time glitches and that I've been deeply affected by the Mandela effect, including all the popular themes ranging from Mandela himself to Shazam and all the other things, the monocle for the Monopoly board game, all these things I've had alternative memories of. And I've already discussed this in older videos, personal glitches that occurred at my work, in my home, things that have changed literally in a blink of an eye that were never like that before. Um, and I'm not going to discuss those again. You can scroll down through my page where I discuss two videos I made on the Mandela effect. Since then, I've had some more personal glitches that have occurred, including one yesterday. And since then, also, my opinion, the Mandela effect has slightly shifted and changed. Um, so I was watching a documentary called The World is on Fire. And that's another subject we can talk about. Um, yeah, it is on fire. There's something going on. If the ice caps are melting, the sun is blazing hot and it burns your skin. If there's continent wide wildfires that, burn down Australia and then they burn down Siberia and then they burn down the Amazon, and you have floods that just never seems to stop and keep going and going and going. And it's like, no, is it human caused activity? Is it simply just people going about their daily lives that are causing all these massive changes to the weather and these unexplained anomalies in the sky and the strange clouds and the bizarre lightning and weird shifts in weather patterns? And it just makes no damn sense, and I'm sick and tired to my damn core that we're being lied to, and I'm just had about enough of the lies. And I know something way bigger is going on than some so-called human caused activity, even though I will say we are not good stewards of the planet. We don't treat it well. We don't treat ourselves well. We have cut down the forests and polluted the rivers, and we've been terrible to the planet, and we've destroyed the fisheries and have polluted the oceans, and we have drilled in places we shouldn't have drilled, all for greed and all for our consumption, which we're all equally responsible for and are guilty of. But we have limited options now, don't we? Having said that, we're hardly responsible for the massive. It can't possibly be that it's just simply human caused. I personally think that this is the birth process of the new earth. The new earth is expanding and coming to fruition through these processes, which is completely 100% related to the Mandela effect. I kind of went off topic for a minute, not off topic, but off course. Let me go into the video I was talking about, and this personal time glitch that has occurred. So this is a documentary called "The World's on Fire," and they were talking about a fire that I very clearly remember called the Fort McMurray fire in Canada, and it was a devastating fire. And I have very clear and vivid memories of people escaping and how it rushed in and just like swept the whole town immediately, and that there a lot of people couldn't escape, and like 100 people died. I remember seeing headlines of them saying that it was one of the deadliest fires in Canadian history, what have you. And so they were talking about this fire in the documentary, and they said that they mentioned nobody died. And I'm like, I mean, I just flipped out. I'm like, no. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I'm just simply mistaking this fire for the Paradise Fire in Northern California that occurred in 2018, and the Fort McMurray fire occurred in 2016. I'm not mistaking them. I'm not. I know there are a lot of deaths in the Paradise Fire, and the entire town burned down. I know it very well. I was deeply into that story, just like I was deeply into the Fort McMurray story and fires specifically. And why I'm deeply into fires, because my house almost burned down twice in wildfires, including one time in 2014 where my area was in the news. The CNN came literally down the street from my house because I woke up with my infant son surrounded and engulfed by 50-foot flames, and we literally ran away, got in the car, and drove off from completely being surrounded by flames. So, having said that, I know my fires. And I know the Fort McMurray fire, and I clearly remember people dying in it, but nobody died. And these sort of Mandela effects are common. It's either one or two of the extremes, with the Hindenburg, or with other events. It's either way less people died or way more than people thought. It's just, I'm starting to, I was talking about a computer causing the Mandela effect, some kind of supercomputer. But now I'm starting to think that this is related to the electromagnetics of the Earth, and how the electromagnetics of the Earth are somehow kind of recording and are responsible for holding in place our reality and what we perceive. And they're being distorted. And as they're being distorted, they're collapsing all the timelines into a singularity. And we have different types. We have two singularities. We have a light singularity, a positive polarity, and a negative singularity, a negative polarity. And they're condensing, collapsing into a singular event, or two events that will split everything. And so, are these the distortions that are taking place? Everything that was and could have possibly ever been is just simply collapsing into an infinite point, which will result in basically the end of the world, or the end of the world as we know it, in terms of a great cataclysm, like it always has been cyclically, except this time it is a grand cycle. It is the ultimate cycle that we're in. So, are all the time, like, say this is a funnel here, are all the timelines kind of coagulating and funneling into this singular point, in which it will then result in a burst or the flash that we are going to see, that will cause our shift. People died in that damn fire. I remember clearly people dying in the Fort McMurray fire. It bothers the shit out of me.